I don't know if you can hear my neighbors bumping their music. I have no control over that. So hopefully this video doesn't get flagged or anything. But I'm actually editing a video. So you're getting two videos today. There's this one, and the one that comes after this is the one I'm editing right now. But I wanted to take a second to talk about Star Trek. Why? I just feel like it. Now, first of all, people ask, oh, you like Star Wars or Star Trek? I enjoy both. If I have to choose one or the other, I definitely lean more Trekkie. I grew up in a Star Trek house, and I mean, literally, my mom owns every Star Trek that's ever existed, and that's not an exaggeration at all. So, I know far more of the lore of Star Trek, and if I'm being honest, I think I genuinely enjoy it more. And there's nothing wrong with Star Wars. Star Wars is good. But the two things I want to say about Star Wars, and then we're moving on from that entirely. Star Wars, it's good, but, well, first of all, Star Wars takes place in space. It's a futuristic story that takes place in space. That's about the only thing it has in common with Star Trek. And they keep getting compared to each other, but honestly, I feel like Star Wars has more in common with Lord of the Rings than it does Star Trek. It's about knights on this journey. It's end of the world stuff, which, hey, Star Trek does end of the world stuff too, but on a different scale. Anyways, the point is, like, other than the fact that they're futuristic type stories that take place in outer space, there are aliens. I mean, these two, they're just entirely different types of story, and they're told in entirely different ways. And while I do appreciate Star Wars, I can't say I love Star Wars. I've seen, like, the main movies, like a couple of the solo movies, a couple of the TV shows. I'm not a huge Star Wars fan. There are things I love about Star Wars. I appreciate the things they do well. I don't love Star Wars itself. It's like, oh, there's a new Star Wars project. Well, I might check it out, just depending. Like, depending on what it is, does it actually look good? I'm going to do an entire Star Wars video at some point. I'm going to do an entire Star Trek video at some point. And that video will probably be a lot of the information you're going to get in this video, just condensed for entertainment value. Because, I grew up with Star Trek, and while I do love it, I'm just going to give you a quick rundown of things I do and don't like. Now, the original series, it's way before my time. But it's kind of cool watching something that came out in the damn 60s and how aggressively progressive it is compared to even to some of the things that are out now. It's kind of stunning. And you can say whatever you want about, like, some of the individual actors and whatnot involved, but overall the project is so groundbreaking. And even though it's not as visually stunning now as I'm sure it was, 60 fucking years ago. No, yeah. But damn, it's old. And yet, some of those dudes are still alive. Not that many of them. Oh, wow. Okay. That was not on my bingo card. Just... we're going to have to do another video at some other point in time, just because, I mean, damn. Malcolm Jamal Warner died. Ozzy Osbourne died. And now I'm seeing a news flash that Hulk Hogan is dead, which I'm not going to lie and say that I missed the dude, but, I mean, damn. That's just some news to break. Anyways, we're going to have to... I remember a few years ago, I think it was way back when Prince died, because I remember, like, Prince died, Robin Williams died. It's like, okay, some of my childhood favorites are going down. And I mentioned to my grandmother, like, well, damn. Like, a lot of people suddenly started dying. And she says, people were always dying. It just wasn't anyone you knew yet. And I can't remember. I think I saw it in like a TV show or something. Like, someone's like, I knew I was getting old because it's like all my friends started dying, and that was just a normal Tuesday or something like that. I don't know. Well, anyways, it's getting more and more common in my life that someone dies, and oh, I know who that was. Anyways, back to Star Trek. We got a little deviated. I was not expecting to see that on my screen. That's just that. Okay, okay. That's a thing that happened. Anyways, so Star Trek, the original series, it still holds up fairly well, despite the graphics not necessarily being like as fun to look at. I'm sure there's so many like Gen Zs and whatnot who are like, "Oh my God, how can you bear to watch this?" Me personally, I don't necessarily care if it's visually stunning or not. I'm okay with seeing the pixels or whatever. I've always cared more about story, and there are a lot of good stories. Cause like I can't remember everything off the top of my head, but I know my favorite episode from the original series is like they find this planet that's supposed to be pre-warp, but they're using advanced weapons because oh, it got supplied by the Klingons, and they're supposed to not interfere. You know, that's like the prime directive. But they also see like, hey, this shit is not fair, so they might kind of leave a few guns and then like, okay, we're gonna bounce. We were never here. And like, all right, they've got some morally gray shit going on here. Like I appreciate when they don't have like, well, this is obviously good. This is obviously evil. We have to do the right thing no matter what. It's like life is morally gray, so it's good to have morally gray stories where it's like, okay, are we sticking with what the rules say is right or what our hearts say is right? Because there are times in life where like if you don't, you'll probably regret it. If you do, you'll probably regret it. It's good to have some sort of compass to help guide us in those moments where we don't know what the right decision to make is, because sometimes there is no right decision. And then we go on because I think Next Generation was the first one I watched as a kid, and I did love it. Like for one thing, it's always good to see other black people on TV because my favorite characters, I barely even, I honestly like when I saw X Men the live action movie for the first time, I didn't even recognize that guy was Picard. Like I watched for Geordi and Worf, like those are my dudes, especially Geordi because reading Rainbow. For those who don't know, Geordi LaForge, was played by LeVar Burton, who was also on a show called Reading Rainbow. It's actually technically Reading Rainbow does still exist to this day, I think. Anyways, just look it up if you don't know, okay? I don't want this video to go on for 2 hours. But anyways, so yeah, I enjoyed the show. I never loved it, and I like watching it now. It's still good because like the movies are surprisingly good too. They hold up very well. And like, look, a lot of people are gonna agree. Some will disagree. The second best Star Wars movie of all time, of every Star Wars movie ever made, I'm still gonna say Wrath of Khan. Wrath of Khan was pretty epic. But anyway, the music stopped, and I suddenly lost. It's weird. The distraction leaves, and I lose my focus. But like you get used to hearing something, and then suddenly it's gone. It's like your brain is clocking that something has changed, and it's trying to make those adjustments. Or at least my brain does. I don't know about your brains, but that's how my brain works. Any changes, even a welcome change, is a change that needs to be addressed. Anyways, so yeah, I'm all over the place with this one, aren't I? But yes, Star Wars. Oh yeah, okay, okay. So I hardly remembered because like watching it as an adult, Because, like, in my 20s, I started looking at them again, and I'm like, because, like, looking at Next Generation, I don't remember most of the characters, and I don't remember most of the storylines. I mean, I do now just because, hey, I've rewatched a lot of it. But, like, damn, like, other than that fact that, hey, Geordi was there and Worf was there, really didn't remember much of anything about the show. And this might be controversial to say, but DS9 is probably... No, not... Sorry. We're going to go into DS9 next, but Next Generation, out of... there are some bad Star Wars shows. Next Generation is one of the good ones, but it's the worst of the good shows, in my opinion. It's overrated. It's so boring. And I don't mean boring that, like, it's not fun to sit through, but boring as in, like, it's one of those very morally strict shows. And, like, it's one of those, like, okay, Kirk is a good captain for, like, fans, but Picard is a good captain for, like, Starfleet. Like, that's what a Starfleet captain is expected. You know, he follows the rules. Does he lie? Occasionally, but only, like, it's like to mislead in order to, win. Like, overall, he's still, like, the most grounded, by the book captain that I can name in any of these series. Second, probably, like, Janeway. Like, as far as, hey, it's just... It's yeah, it is what it is. Like, I'm not even saying, like, it's not a bad series. It's a fun series. It's interesting. There's some plot twists. But, like, if I was going to introduce anyone to Star Trek for the first time, I would not start with Next Gen. Because, like, if Next Gen is all you know about Star Trek, I could understand you not liking it as much. It makes sense. Now, I keep saying it because it's on my mind, and it's the main reason I watch. Because I was looking at some clips of it, and I'm like, I mean, I feel like, because Deep Space Nine might possibly be the best Star Wars series, and anyone who disagrees with me, you've just never seen DS9. It's one that, honestly, I hated it as a kid. I couldn't tell you why. Maybe it's just because it was too complex and it was too nuanced, and I couldn't get into it as a kid. Like, the only thing I really remember about it was Quark, who I absolutely loved and adored. My favorite character. Watched the entire show just to see him. But everyone else is like, oh. And I think I stopped watching before Worf showed up, because when he showed up, I was like, what the fuck? Was he on the show? I don't remember him at all. And honestly, funny enough, Worf was the best thing about Next Generation, and in my opinion, quite possibly the worst thing about DS9. And I'm saying that because, like, DS9 has so many complex, dynamic characters, and Worf is so damn stiff by comparison. And it kind of works in a sense because that's half his story. It's that, like, he's the straight man in this comedy troupe, and they make it work. But, like, it's just so weird seeing, seeing Worf added to the mix is basically what made me realize just how amazing DS9 really is. Just that pure contrast. But, like, honest, because I was looking at some clips today, and you'll understand why when you see the next video, but just wow. I mean, the more I see it, the more I appreciate it. And I don't know if that's just me getting older and seeing enough bad things that I appreciate just how amazing this is even more. Such amazing storylines, intricate plot lines, such deep character development, such emotional plot points. I mean, and it's just, wow, it's every shade of gray. it's 5,000 shades of gray. It that there's I'm genuinely I love the show more every time I watch it. And then we get to Voyager, which I don't know. I feel like Voyager in general, from my experience, Voyager is considered like the ugly stepchild of the franchise. Well, not entirely. We're gonna get into Enterprise in a second, but like I feel like here's the thing: most people don't know Enterprise exists. So, of the main ones that everyone knows, like Voyager, I feel like it gets the least love, even though, from my perspective, it might be the second best series right behind DS9. I know you're gonna hate me on that. Fight me, bro. Come at me. But for one thing, Voyager, in my opinion, is the only one outside of the original series that really fulfills the promise of the original series. You know, to discover new life on new planets, to boldly go where none have gone before. You know, because they're on a mission. They're trying to get home, and they're constantly finding new life and having new struggles, having their morality questioned. And there are times when I do wish, like, okay, swap Cisco and Janeway just for this episode. Because there are times when, like, okay, fuck your morality, fuck the Palm Directive. We need to throw out the rubric in this specific case. You're almost getting your crew killed because of your bullshit morality. But I also kind of appreciate that element of if we lose our humanity, then what's the point of getting home if we forget who we are along the way? And it's one of those things where like they're all trying to find that balance between, you know, saving our lives and saving our souls. And there are some deep, epic episodes like Tuvix. Jesus, I don't remember ever watching that as a kid, but hell, watching that as an adult nearly fucked up my brain. Tuvix was deep. That was a hard episode to sit through. And so, sorry, some people outside. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, if I'm personally ranking this series, I'd say not even necessarily for how good they're acted, directed, and other stuff, but for entertainment value, I would rank DS9, Voyager, original series, Next Generation. And that's it. Those are the only ones that exist. Just kidding. But, because, like, I did see all 4 seasons of Enterprise. And I'm going to tell you this. Unless you just absolutely love Star Trek and you just have to see everything that's ever existed, you can skip Enterprise. It's not worth sitting through. There's some good things that happen. There are some good storylines. There are some good actors. Overall, though, it's very disappointing. Uh, like, if it's your first time ever watching Star Trek, and you start with Enterprise, I can't blame you for thinking it's okay. Because I'll even go out on a limb and say that maybe it's not inherently bad, but because that maybe the biggest problem with it is just that it doesn't live up to the extremely high standards set by all of the other series. That could be its true downfall. That it's not even like the worst sci-fi show ever. But it just doesn't live up to all of these other great ones. And then, I mean, I don't. We're not gonna get into the movies that much. I was never a fan of the movies, but there's some good ones. Cause like from the original series, there's like 6 or 7. I think I like 3 or 4 of them. Cause like the whole Spock trilogy was pretty interesting. Cause it was like Wrath of Khan, Search for Spock, The Journey Home. I think. What was it? The Undiscovered Country was pretty good. I swear I just heard my name. I'm gonna ignore that for now. Something's going on out there. Because I heard my name and it suddenly got really quiet outside. People were talking, then I heard my name, then it got quiet. We're gonna ignore that, try to power through this. I don't know what's going on out there. My neighbors are always loud and arguing. But I swear to God I heard my name. We're gonna ignore that for now. Because, okay, so the original movies, like half of them are good. The Next Generation movies, I'd venture you could even make the argument that, fuck, the movies are better than the show. But I can't remember the movies. I'm trying to remember, because I know there was one where it's like, basically it's amazing because, hey, you have Picard and... Why am I forgetting Kirk? Because you have Picard and Kirk in the same movie, so that was kind of epic. But, like, that was the epic thing about it. And then you had First Contact, which was at least somewhat interesting, I guess. I know Nemesis, I feel like people didn't like Nemesis. I remember, I don't know. I remember it being interesting. I think there's at least 3 or 4 movies. I think there's 4 movies, but I only remember those 3. Insurrection, right. Nemesis and Insurrection. See, the fact that I can't remember says a lot. And then you have the Star Trek remakes, the Chris Pine ones. We're just going to pretend the third one doesn't exist. The first 2, epic. Like, honestly, I think they did a great job with those. If you're going to introduce someone to Star Trek for the first time, like, this is good. Because it's an alternate universe. You don't need to know any of the lore. You're establishing the lore and you're showing them what it can be. There are things about it that aren't... It's not a perfect movie. Neither of them are, but... You know, the first and second movie are both... They're fun. They're interesting. And then they've had this Star Trek renaissance happening. And I'm too distracted by what's going on, whatever it is out there. So let's try to run through this real quick. Picard, I saw the first season, liked it, didn't love it, have not followed up on it. I've seen episodes of Strange New World. It didn't intrigue me enough to love it. And like one of the things I hate about Strange New World is the same thing I hate about Discovery and Enterprise. Why do we keep going backwards into the fucking past? I want to see what happens next. Let's head towards the future. What does that future look like? Because, like, Janeway discovered an entire new section of the universe. What's up with that? Is anything? The Borg are not completely wiped out, are they? What's going to happen with that? There's a lot of shit to have. Why do we keep going to the past? Speaking of Discovery, first season was trash. First season was garbage. First season sucked ass. Second season was very interesting, very unique storyline. I was definitely intrigued. I hated the constant Spock teases. And yes, I am aware of what that sounds like. And I think they're aware of what that sounds like. Because they just love teasing us with their Spock. It was frustrating. But it almost feels like after the first season, they were like, yeah, this isn't working out. So let's just... let's use the second season to set up future projects. And then... because what's it called? Because Discovery goes into the future. I know I saw season 3. I think I made it like halfway through season 4. Like Discovery, it's one of those things where, once again, it's not inherently bad. It feels convoluted at times. And I have trouble liking some of the characters. but they're all talented actors and actresses. It's very, like, some of those camera angles are insane, and sometimes it's like perfect, chef's kiss. But there's times where it's like, yo, you need to calm down. You need to calm the fuck down with these angles, man. And then, I would be remiss if I didn't mention Lower Decks, which, hell, honestly, like, I'm a guy who loves comedy, so for me personally, Lower Decks might be the best thing to ever come out of the Star Trek universe. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Okay, just chill. But yeah, personally, yeah, that one, Lower Decks is amazing. Even if you've never seen a single episode of Star Trek, Lower Decks is worth sitting through. It's hilarious. The people in it are amazing, and yeah, it's worth sitting through. But and it's a very well made, like, comedic look at something that honestly has always taken itself too seriously. Anyway, there's another one. What's the word? Like Legacy, or it's got Janeway in it. It's another cartoon. Prodigy, is that it? I don't know. I haven't actually seen it. I'm not, like I said, I'm not huge on the whole Star Trek thing. It's something I have enjoyed because at its peak, it's epic. But I also feel like there's too much, it's dragged on too long. I've lost interest. But like I said, I was watching some clips from DS9 this morning, and I'm thinking it might be time to start getting myself to watch a few of these again. Anyways, that's it. If you're watching this video right now, I don't know how long it's going to take me to finish editing the other one. But when that's finished, hopefully, you'll be able to just finish this video and then go watch that. So, yeah.